Welcome back to Front and Center. I'm Jacquie Jordan. We are the show where the change agents, the storytellers, and the activators making a difference from behind the scenes take their seat front and center. We're joined with a special guest today, Joe Germanotta, and we're going to talk about the issues facing New York. He is a behind the scenes activator making impact right here on the Upper West Side of New York. He raised his two daughters here. We know one of them as Lady Gaga, and we want to hear what his ideas and what he's doing behind the scenes here and how the NIMBA, not my backyard, NIMBA.
Right.
Yeah, is the conversation. But you're really experiencing that right now in your own backyard.
Yeah, we are. I mean, it was quite a shocker to us because our local officials didn't really share any information with us.
So there's no heads up.
There was no heads up. And so basically, even the students that were in the dormitory at the AMDA building, they didn't know until 2 weeks before they were asked to leave. And they took them downtown, set them up, I think, down in the village, West Village. And then the next thing was, 1-800-JUNK was here and they emptied out the building. And 2 days later, they pulled up with trucks and they brought in bunk beds and et cetera, et cetera.
So we're talking on the big picture. We're talking about the whole migrant issues come right into the neighborhood, into the dormitory next door at the American Music of Drama.
American
Drama,
Music and Dance, I think it is.
Right next door. And so it's changed the whole tenure of the street, the neighborhood. And so what are some of the issues that the neighbors are complaining about or the impact that everybody's feeling?
First of all, let me thank some of the local officials that have helped us out. Gail Brewer has been tremendous. Linda Rosenthal, Mark Levine, the borough president. Who else? Manuel Belliard, who works for HCC. And Laura, I'm sorry, Laura Atlas, who most recently has helped us out even
And how
more.
so?
Well, we've had problems with motorbikes on the street, probably 50 or 60 of them, okay, just unlicensed during the evening and sometimes during the day hours. The residents of the building there would sit on their motorcycles with their girlfriends or wives or whatever, and they'd rev their engines. And so it was really affecting the quiet enjoyment of the neighborhood. Other things we've seen, a lot more trash in the neighborhood, empty Bud Light boxes and empty liquor bottles, etc. Most shocking one the other day was there was a hypodermic needle.
Okay.
And unfortunately, those things, they were right out in front of Blessed Sacrament School, which is about 500 feet away from their building.
So we're dealing with the migrant issue. We see it on the news. We see it coming up the Texas borders. It's very different when it comes on your block and into your home.
Right.
And when people say to me, they say or complain to me or say, Jacquie, we really need to bring, do something with these migrants or bring my immigrants in. I'm always for a legal system. I said, if we don't like the legal system, we need to change it or upgrade it, but not do it this way. But I always say to people, like, how many people could you put on your house before you're overrun? Like, how many people could you put in your sofa in your house before you can't afford to feed them? You run out of your own home resources,
right.
And it changes the context. But this is kind of the same thing when it happens, in your street. So how are you working with the city officials that you named to get some sort of resolution? And what resolution would you like to see?
Well, we had a block association meeting, which we just started as a result of this, but it's really turned out to be a benefit for everyone. And we invited Gail Brewer and a couple of the other city officials.
And they don't always get along either. So
no,
right.
But
so the fact that you're bringing it together,
we're bringing them together, and we're sharing ideas with them. All right, and they're telling us what they can do, and then what they may be able to do. I mean, one of the most significant things we asked for was, how about some additional block security? Because quite frankly, some of the residents in the neighborhood, not just in my building, they're afraid.
right?
Because late at night, there'd be block parties and people partying out there. Now, I will say this, last night, one of our owners here came home at about 2:00 in the morning, and she said the street was quiet.
That's fantastic.
Okay.
That's good.
And we believe the reason to be that we asked them to increase the security. Now, for the longest time, their security was just inside the building. What we asked them to do is, hey, how about having your guys in the building, your security, just stand out front, maybe walk up and down the street every once in a while, and just look for, how would I call it? Poor code of conduct activity. How's that? All right. And that seems to be working. And the police department has, at times, they've sent some vehicles down the street. They've impounded all the motorbikes.
They've taken them away.
They've taken them away, which is, that's another story. I don't know how
they all got motorbikes.
They all got motorbikes.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, having been in Los Angeles,
Right.
they had cell phones, debit cards for groceries, and they would also get their medications.
Well, here, I mean, at the AMDA facility, there's a food truck that comes every day. There's a laundry truck that comes. I don't know if they come every day,
but they're provided laundry services.
They're provided laundry services. And I don't know what else they get, but I can tell you this: the building that they're in only accommodates about 380 people. All right. Now they put bunk beds in there. Okay. That was single rooms of the 380. Now they put bunk beds in there. So I got to believe it. And there's shared bathrooms, shared facilities, right? There's no cooking on premise, thank God.
But you would imagine has to still be make fire code.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's over the fire code. I mean, some of the unusual things that started happening. I mean, the residents there are hanging their wet laundry out the window.
Oh, haven't seen that in a long time in New York.
Haven't seen that in a long time in New York.
In New York,
but those are, I mean, those are manageable things over time.
Of course, right.
I mean, the most
bigger
important
issue is the safety.
And fitting into the neighborhood. I think what bothers the owners most is that they weren't told, and it was a major it was a very stealth operation.
Oh, that's interesting.
Okay.
It wasn't
it was like they were flying into Westchester and dropping them off.
Right. It wasn't like DeSantis sent them into
exactly.
Cape Cod.
Exactly. And I think if we had some advance notice, I don't know if it would have turned out any better.
But it would have allowed a voice. It would have allowed the neighbors to have a voice.
They would have a voice, and maybe we would have been able to, foresee some of these obstacles that cropped up immediately. But I will say that the city officials that we've been dealing with have been very responsive, and we can only thank them for that.
Well, that's great. That's great. You're getting you feel like you're getting heard. You're taking action, which is what we're supposed to do when we're not happy with.
We want them to
leaders.
fit in. I mean, we have the compassion for the neighbors. Okay. I mean, I can't imagine now we all know what it's like to be on the Texas border.
Right. Right.
Okay. That's just the fact of the matter. Okay.
Right.
So recently I spoke to Laura, and I feel that getting them more involved in the neighborhood would put everyone's mind at ease.
Getting the migrants
involved in the neighborhood. And, I realize there's a little bit of a language barrier with most of them, or I should say a lot of a language barrier.
Sure. I'm sure there's language, right? Cultural.
But what, the suggestion we just made was, hey, why don't you guys pay for a block party, and we'll get everybody together. All right. And we'll show that, everybody will learn, maybe they'll learn each other's names, and it'll be more of a neighborhood event. Quite frankly, when the students moved in from the dormitory, I mean, we had some issues originally, but they settled down. I mean, the most significant issue was they'd come home at, 11 or 12 o'clock at night, and they'd be singing show tunes.
And you've been here a long time.
I've been here 35 years.
In a very classic building.
A very classic building, very quiet, respectful neighborhood where people know each other.
Yeah.
I mean, all the store owners, they know each other. And I have a restaurant, Joanne Trattoria, and I have a pretty good relationship with all the owners. And, they were a little taken aback by it as well.
In terms of city planning, when we have to do anything to our houses, we have to go through a process.
Right.
There's not many things we get to do that creates that change, either personally in our own spaces or in our civic spaces, where we get away with just doing it without permission, neighborhoods. I mean, even, sometimes you just alter your house, you've got to get your neighbor's permission.
Yeah. I mean, we have a community board.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a functional board. If somebody wants to open up a liquor store or a restaurant, okay, they have to go before the community board and get approval. There's rules about you can't be so many feet from a school or a church, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, I mean, I get it. They need the space.
Right.
Okay. But this was really close to
Right.
an elementary Catholic school.
Right. Well,
Blessed
and you weren't
Sacrament.
notified, I think is the
Yeah.
biggest, I mean, one of the many, but the biggest is nobody was notified.
Nobody was
So you
notified.
you can't ask questions, you can't put in your own needs or wants with the community or the civic community. So
Yeah.
right now we're talking about having possibly a block party.
I'm trying to get them to pay for it.
Yeah.
I said, well, if they have $2 billion budget, I'm sure they could squeeze $2,500 out of it to pay for a block party.
Right, right. Well, I respect your willingness to want to find a common ground.
We have a committee, all right, and I believe there's about 60 participants in the neighborhood. And the bottom line is we want to be fair and reasonable. Okay. We just want the city to be fair and reasonable with us.
Right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. I really
Thank you.
appreciate
This
it.
was very nice.
And if you would like to learn more about Front and Center, please subscribe to us here on YouTube or go to frontandcenterpodcast.com where we have all our past episodes. Remember to subscribe to us or hit your notification button to learn more about our upcoming episodes. I'm Jacquie Jordan. We'll see you soon.
Thank you so much for joining us on the Front and Center with Jacquie Jordan podcast. Please subscribe to us on YouTube and follow us on Instagram at TV Guestpert. We'd love to hear from you.